again, Mrs. Clift here, of course, and I have something in my hand. Anybody know what this is? Yes, you probably do. Sand dollar. And I'm going to be reading to you, it's actually an Easter story, using a sand dollar as an illustration, but also want to show you something else. And this is, we've been cleaning a lot at our house. Maybe you've been cleaning closets out and stuff too, and I found this spike. I used to use this in my classroom because it's a railroad spike, but it reminds me about what maybe a spike looked like when they would crucify people. It sounds horrible, doesn't it? It was horrible. But you can see how big this is. I mean, compared to like my wrist, my hand, you can see how big this is. And anyway, it's pretty heavy too, and imagine this being nailed through, hands and feet to hang on a cross. Jesus did that on purpose, and he wanted to, okay? He loves us, and he loves us so much. That's what he did. So I'm gonna read to you this story, and it's called The Legend of the Sand Dollar. And I'm gonna read through it, and then we'll talk about it really briefly at the end, and then that will be it today. Again, if you have some songs you want to sing, go on YouTube and type in some songs with your parents' help, and you can actually read the words as you're singing, singing along. Just have some worship time together, okay? All right, here we go. Why can't Mom and Dad take us to the beach? Carrie sniffled. It's only 2 days, whispered Margaret, and they'll come get us on Easter morning. Carrie tried not to cry. Every few years, her family went to Aunt Jane's house near the beach. I'll just think about playing with Cousin Jack, she told herself. I'll just think about the ocean. But her tears still fell as the bus took her farther and further away from her mom and dad. Early the next morning at Aunt Jane's, Carrie went out to look at the boats on the river. Carrie still missed her parents, but soon she heard the put-put-put of an engine coming toward her from upstream. Cousin Jack! Carrie! Jack hollered. What do you think about my new boat? It's not very big, she yelled back. Then it's perfect for you. He took her hand as she climbed aboard. The river opened to the wide bay. Hang on, Jack yelled. Suddenly the ocean lay before them as broad as the sky. A small island appeared in the distance. Waves lapped against the shore as Jack beached the boat. What's this? Carrie called, holding up a round object. That's a sand dollar, Jack answered. A sand dollar, Carrie cried. This isn't money. Right, said Jack. It's a starfish that used to live in the ocean. How do they get here? Carrie asked. When the tide goes out, it leaves sand dollars behind, Jack said. Why are they called dollars? She asked. Real dollars used to be round, said Jack, and they were made of silver. But sand dollars have value too. Then I guess we're rich, Carrie teased. In a way, he answered, the sand dollar tells a story. The greatest story of all. Can you see the Easter lily on that side? It's like a trumpet saying Jesus is alive. So I'm going to show you this while I'm reading right now. Now look in the middle of the lily. There's the star from the east. So if you look in the middle, there's no hole in this one, but you can see the middle part there. There's a star from the east. Can you see? I don't know if you can really tell on that one. Anyway, there's a star from the east that led wise men to Christ. We remember Jesus' birth on this side too. See the Christmas flower? Both sides of the sand dollar tell the Easter story. See the 4 nail holes and a 5th hole made by a spear? These remind us that Jesus died for us. So look at this picture in the book. It depicts it a little bit better. How sometimes they're all filled in, but sometimes there's actual holes. Now hold out your hand, said Jack, and watch very carefully. He broke open one of the sand dollars, and 5 white shapes fluttered down. See the doves? This is the new life, the promise of Easter. As Jesus lives again, so can we. And these doves remind us to spread his promise and this hope to all people. Oh no, Carrie cried. We dropped them. Jack wasn't worried. The high tide will leave more and more, over and over, and I have a whole bucketful back home. As the tide rushed ashore again, Jack helped Carrie back into the boat and pushed it off the beach and jumped inside. The boat crested the top of each wave, hung in the air, then swooped down like a ride on a roller coaster. But all the way back, Carrie could only think about the sand dollar and how valuable it really was. That night, the moon rose full across the water. You know what? Asked Jack. Your parents aren't that far away, like the moon and the tide. But the moon is far away from the ocean. They're still connected, Jack explained. The moon's gravity is what pulls the tide high. From that far away, that's how the tide works. Like how God can remind us that he is close too, whispered Carrie, thinking of the sand dollar. The next morning, Carrie put a sand dollar into her sister's hands. Happy Easter, Margaret, she said. Thanks, Carrie. Carrie smiled and asked, Do you see the Easter lily? An Easter lily? Yeah, and inside there are little doves. I'll tell you the whole story. As they waited for their parents, Carrie shared the good news with her sister. Soon, Margaret smiled too. And that is the end of the story. So next time you go to the beach, or maybe you even have some sand dollars around your house or somewhere in a bucket or something that you've collected from past, now you know. It also can tell the Easter story. All right, love you guys. Talk to you again soon.